everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is September 17th, 2021, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, before we get into video game talk and sales discussion, I wanted to give a special shout out by saying happy 66th birthday to my good friend, Mr. Charles Martinet. For yes, this amazing human being was born on this date back in 1955 and is really a terrific person. One of the best that I've met in life, video game industry or otherwise, honestly. He is very genuine, always kind, and I can't say enough good things about him. Of course, you know him best as the voice actor of Super Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, Baby Mario, and Baby Luigi, being in countless video games for various Nintendo platforms dating back to Super Mario 64 in 1996, all the way up until present day with WarioWare that just released on the Nintendo Switch. Of course, I met Charles for the first time at my second E3 in 2001. 17-year-old me was pretty new in the video game industry. I was working for Electronics Boutique at the time, basically EB Games, and I was at E3's Nintendo booth. Specifically, they had this roulette table where you could win a prize, answer questions, and interact with, on screen, Charles Martinet controlling Mario. And he was able to look at the audience, talk with them, and when he came to me, I said, it's me, Paul, from California, woohoo! And he said, Mamma mia, you're like my long-lost brother. Haha, it's me, Mario. Hello, Paul. And it was awesome. I was talking to my hero, one of the people that I always thought would be fantastic to meet, because being a giant Nintendo fan, a giant fan of Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart 64, which came out afterwards, and just beginning to like Charles more and more as a character, as a personality, as a person, this was a tremendous moment for me, And this is also a day and age before the internet was really big, right? This is May 2001. There was no Twitter, social media across Facebook, no YouTube even, Instagram, MySpace. So this type of interaction was even more rare, probably, because you couldn't even exchange necessarily with people that you wanted to meet online so easily as now. You could follow someone online. You could kind of get to know a person a little bit better. But back in the day, it was, okay, some video game magazine news articles and stuff like that. So this was an awesome moment for me. He even said, if I ever get laryngitis, you'll be the one to replace me as Mario. And it was quite a trip. It was really kind of him. I was looking around for him in the booth. Various Nintendo employees described him, look for a tall, silver-haired, sleeked individual, awesome person. Approach him. I'm sure he'd be kind enough to talk to you. But I wasn't able to find him. I think I spotted him, but wasn't quite able to get to him. So I attempted, all right, let's see what happens. I'll leave my business card and hope for the best. The Nintendo rep said, sure, I'll give it to him. And I was optimistic, but didn't know, how likely was this to succeed of, getting called back to further talk and whatnot. But here I am, the end of E3. I'm going home. And, my mom said, hey, Paul, by the way, a Charles called. And I said, a Charles? I don't know a Charles. And she said, yeah, Charles, said it was nice talking to you and, wants to talk more. I was thinking, I don't know what you're talking about. A Charles from Nintendo at E3 something. I said, oh my gosh, wait, Charles Martinet? Mario from Nintendo? Yeah, that's it. And I just blew up with excitement. I couldn't believe it. I'm just reliving that feeling. And honestly, it's pretty much just as exciting today as it was back then. Yeah, he left your his number. Well, hold on, what? Yeah. So here I have this phone number. I call Mr. Martinet, and he answers. And we have a great conversation, and I'm able to tell him how big of a fan I am. I appreciate his work. remember me? I was the one with the Mario voice. Yeah, yeah, that was a really good job. And so what do you do? And talking back and forth. And I didn't want to take too much time because he said, he was about to have dinner. He was at the table with the rest of the Nintendo folks, and I'm picturing, oh my gosh, you're taking the time to talk to me. And here you've got, Mr. Miyamoto and Peter Main, George Harrison, Minoru Arakawa, these various Nintendo figureheads that are all around you. And you're taking the time out of your day to chat with me. I appreciated that so much, and it really left a positive impact on me. And, there are several people that I met in life that I really looked up to and were so kind at various very important stages of my youth and early adulthood and, even into adulthood that were just so impactful that I really wanted to be like that. If I ever had the opportunity to meet somebody who wanted to meet me for whatever reason, or any random person, I would just treat them with kindness and give them my time and positivity and energy. And Charles is one of those individuals that really impacted me positively. But we didn't get to meet in person yet, right? It was at E3 2002. I texted him before the show, are you able to meet? I'd really like to say thank you in person, because we kept in contact a little bit throughout the year via email, which is pretty cool. And, now it's May 2002. At this point, I'm already working for Gamers.com. It's my third show. I'm 18, which, by the way, you're not supposed to be able to even go to E3 until you're 18, but I was able to go in based off of a maturity standpoint, invitation from Konami for my first E3, dedication to being a legitimate employee for EB for my second E3. But now here I am, 18 years old. I'm at E3. I get to go in Nintendo's booth before the show even opens up. There's Charles waiting for me at the beginning of the booth. We talk, and nice to meet you, officially. This isn't the photo from that. I do have that photo still, but, that was the first time we met. And then from then on, every year that Charles is at E3, we take a picture, we talk, he makes videos for me, gives me a special shout out. I remember one year at E3, this was 2013, I was a couple of months away from getting married, and Nintendo had a special little event for media, which at that time I was working with OneUp.com towards the end of that, along with Bitmob.com and, of course, PaulGaleNetwork.com. And here I am inside, and Charles is talking above, looking at people and interacting and stuff like that, being the voice of Mario and Wario and Luigi and so forth. And I said, hey, you're doing a great job. I'm here, and hope to see you, at the show. And at this point, like I said, we've already been friends for a decade, and without anything else asking him to say or do, he highlighted me in the audience. Paul, where's my friend Paul Gale? Oh, there he is. And he went on to say, my friend Paul Gale is, going to marry Princess Peach. Oh, his beautiful Princess Kimberly. My wife's name is Kim. So to Super Paul and Super Princess Kimberly on their wedding next month, because now it's June, next month, July, when I would get married in 2013. Have a beautiful wedding and wonderful babies to come, and woohoo! And it was so surreal. That was just one more random, awesome date. But even before then, for a number of years, whenever I had a video game project, an idea, he was supportive. He would talk to me. We keep in contact. I would have kids eventually, and he would create little videos for, hi, Super Baby Bryson, hi, Super Baby Brooke, to, nowadays just texting throughout the year, keeping in contact over the holidays, email, Facebook, phone, and I really appreciate him. Charles, I appreciate you. You mean a lot to my family and me. I think that you're an awesome person. I wish you the best of health. I know that you love to travel, love to go to conventions, interact with fans. I have only ever heard positive things about you from everyone that I've met. People always say, oh my gosh, that's Charles, that's Mario's voice actor, he's so kind and stuff like that. I want you to know that you have so much love and care from millions of people around the world. I'm sure you feel that. I'm sure you know it, right? But really, really know it. It's easy to gloat, which you never do. It's easy to be humble. Well, maybe not as easy to be humble as it is to be, basking in glory. But you're honestly humble for how big of an impact you've had in this world, and you just make it look easy. Is like what I guess I was getting at. Here's wishing you the best. Thank you for always being kind to Bryson and Brooke and Kim and me, for all of the memories along the way, for any video game help and motivation and encouragement, to vouching for me and my video game themed pumpkin carvings and stuff like that. Just being a genuine friend and someone great to talk to. Stay wonderful, stay young, stay healthy, enjoy your travels, continue to do amazing things with Nintendo. I'm crossing my fingers for you that you are the voice actor of Mario in the Super Mario movie. But regardless, here's to a fantastic career ahead of you with whatever you're doing for Nintendo and whatever else you may happen to do for your personal life. I wish you well, business, success. Here's to you. I can't thank you enough for giving me the time of day 20 years ago. Wow. And for 2 decades of sincerity and honestly, just like I said, truly being one of my favorite people that I've met in life. Thank you. All right. Let's move on to some other, well, I should say, let's move on to the actual video game news. But Charles, happy birthday. Okay. It got me emotional. Having a trip down memory lane. Many, many memories. Okay. Going into Monster Hunter Rise territory, we've got the Mega Man Collab. I'm going to push play because this just dropped, and this is pretty cool. I think Monster Hunter Rise is a terrific game. Definitely a big hit on Nintendo Switch this year. And Mega Man is one of my favorite video game franchises from the 80s that I think has stood the test of time. Great music, great character design. Mega Man's been in a lot of games on various platforms. Of course, the Mega Man X series spawned and is one of my favorites as well. So to get Rush in, we have a little more. To get Rush in Monster Hunter Rise is pretty cool. It's available now. We just got Akuma not too long ago from Street Fighter, and now Rush as a costume with his jetpack, Palamute layered armor set. That's really neat. Capcom Collab 5 is coming out fall. What will that be? I don't know, but that's exciting. Let me know what you think of Monster Hunter Rise and its latest Rush collab. Okay, moving on. This actually took place yesterday, and it's its own video on my channel, but I thought I'd play it here just for fun and kind of reflect on it, interestingly enough. So here we go. Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com. It is Thursday, September 16th, 2021, and I am celebrating the 1-year anniversary of my completed Super Mario Bros. Pool Mosaic. I think it's fantastic, don't you agree? I created this last year in September of 2020 to celebrate alongside Nintendo, but Paul Gale Network style, the anniversary of Super Mario Bros. Turning 35. And here is my project 1 year later, still looking really crisp, really clean in my opinion. Mario jumping for the superstar, I love it. And to this date, it's the only video game themed Mario or otherwise pool mosaic that I can see online. Have you seen anything else? If so, please share with me. If not, feel free to share this and let's get some more creativity in the world. All right, thanks for watching. Here's to Mario. Have a good one. Bye. That's kind of fun. rarely do I play my own videos on my video game news channel, right? But hey, why not? Why not once in a while? So some of you might not have followed along with me for as long as others have, but yeah, last year for Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary, I decided to celebrate by draining the pool, having it replastered, and while this was happening, go ahead and do something fun by making an original Super Mario Brothers themed pool mosaic, which my wife, my son, my daughter, and I worked together, mostly my wife and I, into layering all these, I should say, stacking or aligning, maybe, yeah, laying out all of these square individual 1 inch by 1 inch mosaic colors for Mario, getting him to look perfect, and the superstar, getting it to look perfect, then placing it on the sheet, having it where I want it to be in the pool, so it's just the right viewing angle. You do the dishes from the kitchen sink, and you look outside and you see into the backyard. Mario into the in the pool jumping for the star. So able to see it from inside the house based off of where you're at, what angle you're at. So kind of cool, right? I shared that online. And speaking of Charles, he thought it was awesome, supportive of it. So one more cool thing about him. And yeah, I pieced it together, had it done on the 13th, which was the actual anniversary date of Super Mario Brothers when it originally launched. And then on the 16th, I had it in the pool, like set. So yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of its set in the pool date, as the pool water, began to be filled up after it was plastered and stuff. And yeah, I thought I'd just share it, talk a little bit about it. One of the things I was chuckling at in the video is, just watching myself and, following along with how I'm talking and what I'm saying. But it's true. To this date, I still have not seen a single video game themed pool mosaic anywhere online. And the internet's a big place, but you would think that if somebody did it, it would be on Twitter or on Instagram, or you could Google search it. And I've looked, I can't find it. Not Mario related, but not video game related at all. People will have dolphins and other cool things and aquatic stuff and, beautiful laid out set pieces in the pool, but I've never seen this. So for all I know, this truly is the first in the world, and if that is the case, that's pretty darn cool in my opinion. Kind of like with video game themed pumpkins, I've been doing them since 1998, but you could see a lot of video game themed pumpkin carvings online. But am I the first? Am I one of the first? I don't know. That was 98. That is pretty far back, but there could be people from, an earlier era that just didn't have access to social media and internet and stuff like that, so they did it as a hobby back in the late 80s and just never hosted them online, right? So that could exist. Likewise, I guess with the mosaic, that could also have existed and just no one ever happened to put it online. So I don't know. So if you find this video and you're watching and you've done something like this, whether you came before me or after, feel free to share it, because I love to see your own creativity. And if this is the first, like I said in the video, hopefully it inspires a little bit of creativity to then get others to do something like this or better for their own pool. I will give you a little teaser though. Eventually what I'd love to do is have a whole underwater wraparound recreating like a Super Mario Brothers underwater stage from Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario World or something like that, So that's kind of like an end goal maybe. And then I get to thinking, well, should I also do some Zelda or some Street Fighter, some Tetris, Donkey Kong, Metroid? Should I go really big? I don't know. The pool's kind of like a body, and the mosaics are kind of like tattoos. You want to do it right? I don't have any tattoos personally, but I guess that's the analogy in this case. I want to make it look, thematic. So let me know what you think of my project. Some of you are seeing this for the first time. Some of you might have already seen the designated video. Regardless though, thanks for your input. Okay, moving on. We have some God of War news to talk about. It was recently discussed about that this is the final portion of the North saga that Santa Monica Studio is going into. The North saga was thought to be the next big logical step, and I agree. It was awesome coming out of Greek mythology and going into the Norse world. Did a great job in 2018 with God of War. Truly one of the best games of the year and one of the best games of this last generation, in my opinion. And the sequel, Ragnarok, is going to wrap things up. But it was originally planned on kind of being a trilogy. However, it takes so long because they put in a lot of detail into these games that it's about a 5-year development cycle. So if you're looking at it from a 3-game standpoint, you're talking about 15 years to tell one story. And between when the first game came out and first started working on it to the last game finally debuting after finishing up its development cycle, they felt that it might take too long. So part 2, Ragnarok, is going to be a pretty meaty game. And I think that's a good idea. As long as they don't cut any of their ideas out, just take the time with this one game. Let it be big, let it be amazing, and hopefully it really delivers. And then you're looking at it as, okay, a 2-part title. You can play them back to back. Enough time will have passed since the first one came out that, if you're playing it for a second playthrough session right before Ragnarok comes out, you're just going to be treated to this amazing storytelling experience. So interesting that it was originally potentially going to be 3 games and it went to being just 2. But here it is to God of War. Let me know, would you have preferred it to be 3, or are you happy that it's 2? I guess I'm happy with it being 2, especially if they don't limit themselves and the next God of War game just goes into another world, another region. They visit Egypt, they visit India, go somewhere completely different. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff that they could do. Okay, moving on. This is a speculation piece, but I have for a long time thought that the next logical step for the Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Console service is going to be Nintendo 64 games. I mean, it just fit really nicely that, okay, this is the 25th anniversary of the N64. It came out September 29th, 1996. September, for the last several years, is typically a Nintendo Direct month. 25th anniversary of N64 lining up. It's been a while since we've had a new system be added to the NSO service. You have a lot of nostalgia going on for Super Mario 64. Super Mario 3D All-Stars just came out, and Mario 64 was a big highlight piece in it. You see the Super Mario 64 Puma shoes. Now you see the Super Mario Lego crossover with the Super Mario 64 incorporated question mark block. Now, to add more fuel to this potential fire, is a filing by the FCC, and that is for a new controller being developed by Nintendo. Now, controller with this specific number could mean a number of things. If you look at the lining of what Nintendo has, there are different Labo parts that could be considered a controller under filing, but something like the NES controller add-on for the Nintendo Switch is definitely one. The Super Nintendo pad is another one. Different Mario Kart live themed cardboard constructs could be considered that, but I'm leaning towards thinking it's going to be an N64 controller, but is it going to be a true N64 controller with just that back part removed and an internal rumble incorporated into it? Would they modernize it and somehow switch it to make it a 2-gripped controller while still having access to the Z trigger and the L button at the same time, and maybe, modifying the design so that you have an R and R2 on this hand or an R and a ZR on this hand, and you just change the listing so it's, L and Z, and you just make it L and ZL, R and ZR, throw in a second analog stick, and then all of a sudden you got a modern take on an N64 controller that could work with the rest of your Nintendo Switch library. Because Nintendo 64 got close to where we're at nowadays, but it is missing technically that second analog stick, and it has 3 top buttons instead of 4, although it has 6 face buttons, so you could say it has enough buttons, we just need another analog stick. I don't know. It's too much to speculate. Probably the safest bet is it's a classic N64 controller, and it's going to be wireless, and it's going to come out with N64 added to NSO. That's a fairly safe bet, I think. It's probably not anything too crazy like I was describing, where, okay, it's a totally modern take on the N64 controller being modified with, 2 analog sticks and another shoulder button being added and stuff. Probably not. But I wonder what it is. We will probably know by March, since that is when this exclusivity on the FCC expires, and then you could publicly see what it is. But it could be Game Boy related. It could be something completely different. If it's Game Boy related, though, it makes me wonder, it's not just going to be a Joy-Con. Would it be a Game Boy specific, okay, D-pad on the left and only a B and A button on the right setup? I don't think so. Then again, it could be a new Pro Controller, right? Could it be a brand new Pro Controller in development for Nintendo Switch that is totally sold separately? Adds new mechanics to the controller, not just a different color. See, this is not going to be just another colored Pro Controller or another colored Joy-Con. They don't get the same listing as this. This is another new controller. But like I said, could potentially be Labo related, Mario Kart Live related. I just don't think so. I think the timing fits well. Maybe it's a little bit too optimistic, a little bit too...
I'm not sure I understand.
I wasn't talking to you at the moment. Maybe it's a little bit too optimistic, a little bit too wishful of thinking, but hey, that's what I'm going with, that it's hopefully, probably N64 controller related, but we'll see. Remember this video, and we'll come back to this thought whenever we do find out what it is. And finally today, sometimes I go over this on Thursday. Today I'm going over it on Friday, and that is the Famitsu sales for week 37 of 2021. This occupies September 6th through 12th. Thank you, Chris1964 from the ResetEra.com forums for putting this particular list together. These are the top 10 best-selling games of the week. Maybe we'll look a little bit more since I do have access to the top 30. At number 1 for PlayStation 4 is Tales of Arise with 151,000 copies sold. At 2 is WarioWare Get It Together with 72,277 copies sold. At 3 is the PlayStation 5 version of Tales of Arise with 50,482. At 4 is Ring Fit Adventure with 14,628. At 5 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 13,863. At number 6 is Minecraft on Nintendo Switch with 13,529. At 7 is Momotaro Dentetsu for Nintendo Switch with 8,749. At 8 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with 8,428. At 9 is a new game, one of the only 3 new games in the top 10, Ys 9 for Nintendo Switch with 7,324. At 10, Pokemon Sword and Shield with 7,012. And that is the top 10. There are some more games. If you go into 11, you see 3D World plus Bowser's Fury with 6,000. And at 12 is another PS4 game, which is kind of rare on these charts, but it's a new release, NBA 2K22 with 6,200. And if you look throughout the rest, there are a few new games. NBA 2K22 on Nintendo Switch also debuted, but with 4,400, which is less by 1,800 from its PS4 counterpart. You've got a couple of other titles, Sonic Rush, F1 2021. Overall, though, the top 30 is pretty Nintendo dominant. 25 for Switch, 4 for PS4, 1 for PS5. This is one of the last few weeks of calmness, I think, because we're going to get into October very soon, and then we've got OLED model to talk about. We've got Metroid Dread. We've got Pokemon, Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's going to be an exciting holiday. Okay, and finally, Looking at it, hardware, Nintendo Switch is at number 1 with 67,114 units sold, which is actually up 7,000 from last week. Super impressive. It's down 16,000 from last year, and now we're almost neck and neck. Where this year we're at 3,778,000, and last year at this time, Nintendo Switch was at 3,773,000. Nintendo Switch is a little less than 5,000 ahead this year than its last year's self. Now, we have a couple of more weeks where Nintendo Switch is going to fall a little bit behind. 3 more weeks where I think the 2020 part of Switch is going to beat 2021's, especially in the next 3 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if 2020 takes over considerably, because there are some good numbers ahead for these next 3 weeks from last year. However, I think we're going to only be at like maybe 80,000 difference of 2020 being ahead of 2021. And then OLED model comes out. That week is probably going to make up a good chunk of that difference. And then we're at the rest of the year, the home stretch, 10 or so weeks left of mid-October through the end of December. It's going to be a tight race. Nintendo Switch, last week hit that 21 million mark in Japan, and it's at 21,118,000 now. How high can it go in the last 2.5 months of the year, the last 3 months of the year, really? Well, at this point, we've got 3.5 months left, but really from that OLED drop to the end of the year, how much more can it go? I'm excited. Can we hit 24 million? Can we hit 25? 25 is kind of ambitious, but I'm stoked. Let's wait and find out. And number 2 is PlayStation 5 with 16,975 units sold, very close to last week's stock of 17,075, so that's not bad. Last week, PlayStation 5 hit 1 million units in Japan total. Its year to date for this year specifically is at 774,481. If Sony has enough stock available in the next 2.5 months, 3.5 months, I should say, it will hit 1 million straight up for 2021. It's just, will they give Japan enough stock? I'm going to go with yes and say that, we should be around 1.5 million. That might be a little optimistic, but PS5 should hit that by December 31st. Xbox Series brand of platforms held on strong with 2,089, not too far off from last week's 2,605. It's at a lifetime of 87,990, getting up close to that 100,000. Maybe the end of this year comes and the entirety of Xbox One is dethroned by the Xbox Series S and X in just 1 year, compared to the previous platform's 8 years on the market. That would be pretty wild and successful for Microsoft. PlayStation 4 is at number 4 with 1,763 units sold, actually up from last week's 1,431. And the Nintendo 3DS is at 789, which is up by 43 from last week's 746. Not bad. The 3DS is the leader of this list with 24.5 million, but I think Nintendo might hit 3.4 million more by the end of this year. That's a little ambitious, like I said. You're looking at 24.5 million at that point. I think a low 24 is possible. Hitting 25 or even 24.5, kind of ambitious, but you don't know if a price drop will happen in Japan. It looks like so far it's only intended for Europe. We don't know exactly how well will the OLED model fare, just how many new gamers are going to buy Diamond and Pearl, or buy the system, I should say, to play Diamond and Pearl, because we know that Diamond and Pearl is going to sell well to the existing Nintendo Switch audience, but how many more new owners of the console are there going to be to play that game, to play Metroid Dread, to play Shin Megami Tensei 5, to maybe buy a Nintendo Switch in advance of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is an early 2022 title, right? We could see some very strong holiday numbers. I'm excited. All right, that's going to do it today for Video Game News with PGN. It was a bit longer of a day, but I had a really good time talking. Honestly, I got emotional. It did hit me because I love Charles. I think he's terrific, and it was well worth spending, a good 10 minutes plus talking about him, some of my personal interactions, what he means to me as a person outside of E3, just on the daily, sending good wishes, happy birthdays to each other, Merry Christmases and Happy New Year's, and all that stuff along the way. It's really quite special. So that was worth it. Let me know what you thought of that segment, really from the heart, from me. Monster Hunter news, my pool mosaic, the God of War talk, the N64 speculation. What do you think this FCC filing is? And let me know what you thought of the Famitsu sales. All right. Whew, that's going to do it today. Thank you for watching. This is PGN signing out. I hope you all have a fantastic one. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.